Hey everyone, I'm Rachel,
And I'm Jen, and welcome to Devilish Bookworms, the podcast.
where we read and review books and release episodes every Tuesday.
This week we have The Call of the Sea by Kate Schumacher.
Yay! Jenyfer Astolat comes from a land where not only has magic been banned, but the one god has decreed that all women must be subservient to men. For a woman with both magic and defiance running through her veins, Jenyfer is forced to live her worst nightmare. When help comes to her from the most unlikely of places, her mind is open to a world she never knew existed, and the magic she finds there calls into question everything she thought she knew about the world and her place in it.
This week's trigger warnings are forced marriage, forced sexual situations, physical assault and violence, discrimination against people with different backgrounds, the LGBT plus community, and religious trauma.
There also was sexual content, but not like graphic.
Yeah, it was very mild.
Yeah. So you can kind of tell right off the bat when you look at this book that it is very nautical with its under the sea Little Mermaid-esque cover.
But the part that I didn't really expect, and I don't know if you did, was the ties with Arthur and the Round Table. So that was
Oh,
kind of
I know.
cool.
There was like a little she says it somewhere where it's like, oh, you might see hints of Arthur and, you know, Camelot. And I'm like, oh, you mean the whole thing? Gotcha.
Ugh. Yeah. Honestly, I love the way that she actually did twist the story, though, because it wasn't like everybody, as she said, like in her author's note, that it, like, not everybody was who they were supposed to be or was as
Mhm.
transparent as they were supposed to be. So it was really cool trying to figure out who was actually going to be who. And yeah, I kind of really dug that.
With the idea of, the open ocean, pirate's life for us, and all of that, the dedication from the author, it made my heart happy. It says, for all those seeking their path who are yet to peel back the layers and discover who they are, keep going. And I don't know about you, but I really needed that.
Well, I think we kind of all do. I mean, it doesn't matter if you kind of already kind of know where you're going in life, but I mean, I feel like we all kind of lose track of who we are at certain points and rediscover who we should be. So, yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I definitely liked it. But I also love the fact
Yeah.
that she put a pronunciation guide in this book. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
God.
Thank you. Like, I will say it till I'm blue in the face. Like, I love when authors actually do this because some authors use different names that, your reader might not be used to. But also on top of that, your
Hmm.
reader might be dyslexic like I am, and I have such a hard time with certain names. And this was fantastic. It helped so much.
Yeah, I know that there were a few times like I never would have pronounced Tahnet as Tarnet. Like there's no R anywhere in there because it's Tarnet.
Right.
Tarnet. That's why we need pronunciation guys.
Yeah,
There's even a map.
there's an incredible amount of detail on this map too. So, I mean, you kind of get a gist of exactly where the ship is traveling at all times. And I love the fact that she kind of like tied Avalon to kind of like the Bermuda Triangle. Like no one knows where it is. There's always supposedly some storms going on over there, and then everybody's like, the ship is gone. So I kind of love the ties to that.
You know what I love about the map?
That it's beautiful.
There's little shadows underneath all of the clouds for no reason.
Huh. You know, that's kind of funny.
Everything is an aerial view except for the clouds.
I did not pick up on that at all.
But it's cute.
That's really cool.
I think it's from the perspective of the ship because the ship is a profile, you know?
Yeah.
But anywho's. So when we are introduced to the characters, we are living in Jenyfer's hometown. And in this town, the religious trauma is real. So it's like, think of the most, I don't even know, like oppressive. I feel like it's Handmaiden's Tale, but I've never seen Handmaiden's Tale because I kind of don't want to. But man, I had anxiety reading it. Like not just a joke. Haha, it's anxiety. No, like my blood would like I could feel it pulsing. Like the adrenaline was no joke.
Honestly, it was really uncomfortable to read because of the fact that like everything had a rule. Everything. You're not supposed to run. You're not supposed to have your hair out of line. Women aren't supposed to be walking too close to men, or you're supposed to be in prayer every single day. And like, bro, it was rough. It was
Yeah.
so rough, but not in a sense that you shouldn't read it. It was more of a sense that you got really upset for the main character having to go through any of this, for any of the characters having to go through with this,
Mm-hmm.
for her sister being such a devout person in this book and throwing it in her sister's face. It just, that part kind of like really got me.
Yeah, there she did not tell her sister to fuck off enough, to be honest.
No, no, she did not.
Like I wanted it every second, every single second. I wanted her to tell all of them, like, but that's okay. That's why the book is the way it is, so that we can get that upset.
Yes. And I think she did a really good job to really make us as upset as we physically could be with this book before she started rectifying
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, the stakes were really high and the pressure was really on. That's for sure.
Yeah. Stakes, pun intended. Sorry.
um so it was very Pirates of the Caribbean in all the best ways. Like there were multiple ship. Most of the time that we're in the book, we are on a ship, and whether it's one ship or another ship or another ship or another ship or an enemy ship or a disappearing ship, um all the ships have different, like, well, obviously like different captains, different crews, but different atmospheres. So when you're on one ship it feels one way, and then if you're on a when you're on the other ship it feels totally different. um Neither in a good nor bad way, but it was just totally different, and I liked the fact that there were different tones set for each captain, for each crew. There were multiple like main characters. They all had a different tone too.
So speaking of like all the different main characters, like the way that she was able to flip-flop between the main characters. Like at one point we're hearing Jennifer's point of view. Another time we're hearing another character called Arthur's point of view. And then it swaps over to or Dez's point of view. And then at some point we swap over to Katarina. And
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you,
Sorry, go ahead.
let me tell you, like the way that she did it was actually really beautiful and kind of, I wouldn't say seamless, but at the same time, it was not disruptive to the story. Like it kind of hooked you a little bit more because it felt like, okay, scene end, here's the next movie, or here's the next episode of the show type of
Mm-hmm.
deal. So it really kept you in balance and in the book.
Absolutely. I was just thinking about I was just thinking about how she was like, oh, some of these characters are going to be hard to figure out which ones of the Arthurian legends they are supposed to be. And it's like, this one's name is Arthur. And then, and then Jenyfer, aka Guinevere,
Yeah.
was talking to Ordez's dad, and he's like, yeah, his mother wanted to call him Lancelot.
Yeah,
Like, oh, let me try and decipher the code going on here between the characters.
yeah, she did drop it in there like, oh, let me just sprinkle a
Like,
little here and then
like
bloop,
a
here's
wrecking
your
ball.
it really was funny. Oh goodness. But I think with all of that aside, like the characters themselves were I would say mostly lovable or
Mm-hmm.
likable. I
Most
would
of the main characters.
yeah. There was one main character that I just wanted to shove my foot down his throat, but you know,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, I mean, well, but
Yeah, but those are like they're like side characters though.
yeah,
I would say mostly probably
s-
it's like
supporting
Ordez.
actors.
Yeah, supporting actors. Terrible ones.
They,
Um,
they really were.
yeah. You know what I loved about this book?
What's that?
So I'm big on the ocean, water. I think it's so romantic. I think pirates, I romanticize them. Are they, you know, dirty, smelly murderers? Sure.
Mhm.
Do I romanticize it? Of course I do. But there were a few different parts that I loved. One of them was when sure, they don't have his name on there. Um Kairus, it
Oh,
Ayrus. He's like the older. So for those of you who haven't read the book, he's like the older. He's the epitome of just a sailor. He spends his life at sea. You don't really know anything about him other than the fact that he lives his life at sea. He's like an old guy, and there's a moment when he like takes her to the lower deck. Gives Jenyfer. He like takes her to the lower deck and like gives her a mirror, and because she's down there she's like trying to find clothes and stuff because they're pirates, of course they have a ton of stuff, and so he takes her down there and he like gives her a mirror and stuff, and there's something to me that I love so much. There's something so beautiful about a weathered, calloused, like man who's had the worst of life thrown at him, and they do something so thoughtful and delicate for someone. Usually 9 times out of 10 it's a young woman, but there's just something so beautiful about that, the juxtaposition between that, weathered, man who's been bashed around the sea for his whole life, doing something so sweet for this young woman.
honestly, his character was fucking amazing. And I love
Mm-hmm.
that you brought that up because that was such a sweet moment with him. But then like you see more of his true self later on in the story when um something happens where sh Jenyfer needs to go with Ordez down below the ship, and he actually tells her, go ahead, he'll behave himself, and he doesn't, you come and let me know. And I like
Mm.
my heart, I was like, what a sweetheart, this old pirate man. I'm not saying he's like old, but I mean, just like this older man is being like such a grandfather to her right now, like just taking her under his wing and being like, hey, it's okay. Just let me know if anything bad happens and then I'll whoop his ass, you know? And I just, oh, I love that.
Can't remember if it was Fogbound or whatever what book it was, but we did a book before where I talked about how much I loved it when you have that. that storyline of that older, like like calloused man, and he has to take care of a young girl,
Mm.
and like that fatherly kind of. Oh, it was also in the stars. No, the moon and its stars or something. um I just love it, man. I love the unlikely. It happened in Leon the Professional too, that unlikely, caretaker. And Karis did it 100%. He was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna slide right into the role of father or grandfather, like you said. It makes
Yeah,
my heart melt.
yeah, like this manly man that's just like showing his soft side. Just even if it's just that brief moment and then he's like a badass back against everybody else. Like it's those brief moments that just they're so sweet. There
Yeah.
was there was so many moments of just like pure sweetness or just heart melting moments. And I think Ordez actually had a couple of really good moments that just like I actually stopped and I was like tearing up and I was like, nope, suck that tear back in. We don't cry. But it was just it was so good.
So like now everyone wants to know the whys of everything, or like what is everything. But before, there was so much, all that lore and everything had to explain things that we didn't know. And so I think that's probably why I romanticize the sea so much, is because of the fact that everything was magic. Everything was like, that superstition or whatever. And like, I know that they're not, right? But I almost feel like pirates are kind of like my cowboys. Like everyone's like, oh my God, a cowboy, look at his cowboy hat and his cowboy boots, or what, I don't know, whatever. But like to me, that's pirates. And there's like a moment on a ship where it's nighttime and they're all out at sea under the stars that they don't know what they are. It's just magic. And like a crew of gnarled pirates put on an impromptu party with music, and like a gorgeous pirate man asks her to dance. And like I would feel like fucking Cinderella. Like I don't know that I could get any happier than that little party that they had on the deck of the ship.
Yeah, I could totally see that, especially when he leans over and goes, "This is all for you."
Oh my God.
Like, I think we both had the same fucking reactions.
I could have read 32 chapters of that.
Seriously. Between that and just, I don't know, like I could have literally just, if we focused on just them, I would have been happy. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no joke. Like obviously, like I liked Arthur. His story with the other captain is cool. Um, but I found myself sometimes it'd be like the new chapter would be Arthur's point of view, and I'm like, ugh.
I could totally see that. Well, especially because like I felt bad because his love story kind of like got kind of like cut short.
Oh
Meanwhile,
my God.
she got to live hers out, and I'm like, oh, poor Arthur. Like,
I know.
oh, poor honey.
I know. And he does have such a beautiful, like, he has such a beautiful romantic story too, and it's like, I don't know, it's like you said, it was cut off without giving too much away, and so it was. I know there was a library scene. My heart.
Oh, I know. Ugh. Like literally this entire book was so fucking romantic. So romantic.
It really was. I will admit, I at first, if you've listened to the podcast for a while, you know that I have a very hard time with exposition, and so like the first couple chapters were literally nothing but exposition, and it was so hard for me to get through. I was like, oh my God. but it was like necessary and some people love it. So like don't take my words to heart or be mad at me or be mad at me. I don't give a crap. But um I but but once you got past the exposition, the first couple of chapters, once you got past that, for me, I was sucked in.
Yeah, for sure. I don't even think it took that long for me to get hooked into it. I
Yeah.
think I think what it was the I think the sister rival not rivalry, but just like the
Lamorna was a
sheer
twat.
yes. I think it was the sheer fact of the differences between the sisters that kind of like
Mm.
got me because I was like, huh, I understand that. And especially like I hate to say it like this, but my sister always tries to spout Bible verses at me, and I am so not religious, but I'm also one to give just as well as I can take for a right and a left hook. So I've spouted some different things off at her. But even still, like the sheer differences, like obviously you know that they're still sisters. She was a twat, like you said. You're
Mm-hmm.
100% right. But at the end of the day, they're still sisters. And Jenyfer, as you know, this Jenyfer would go after her twat of a sister if she got sucked in to the, you know, abyss to a certain extent.
I wouldn't have saved her. I wouldn't have gone after. I wouldn't have blinked an eyeball.
You know how bad I really wanted her to shut up and say, like, stop asking, like, can I go save my sister now?
Right. So I'm like, who cares? She doesn't care about you. And this is coming from me, who's all about family. You could basically call me Dom Toretto. And I'm just like, I've had enough of her. Who cares? Let the sea have her.
She reminded me, oh, this is, oh my God. Is this an Iris Beaglehole moment where the daughter was just a twat and you just hated her life?
Yes, that's as much that is how badly I hated Lamorna. I could not care. I don't care if her character has any other. I don't care if her character ever comes back. I don't care if there's any development. I don't care. I could not care less. I hate her
I
with a
love
fiery,
it.
burning passion.
I absolutely love it.
I am all about like I have unconditional love for my family, but that does not mean that I would have to be in their lives or they would have to be in mine. Sometimes you have to love someone from afar. And I feel like Jenyfer needed to love Lamorna from afar because there is no way that Lamorna was going to let them have an actual relationship. Lamorna was 100%. If you are not this, this, and this, then I can't love you. If you are not this, this, and this, then we can't have a relationship. And I'm not about that life. So I think that she should just love her from afar. And if afar is, the bottom of the ocean, then so be it.
Oh my God. I love that so fucking much. Oh, yeah, loving from a distance is okay. That has to be my favorite thing you've ever said on this podcast. And you've
I don't
said
know
a
how
lot
you
of
could
great
pick.
things.
I know. I was like, I don't know how you could pick a favorite. I'm just saying gems, dropping gems all the time.
You do. Just like Kate Schumacher was dropping hints on who was who, right? Just
Dropping
kablam.
hints. She was basically like, "Hello, is this microphone on? This is Lancelot."
I can't hate her for it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Because it gave me something to laugh about when I finally got to the part.
So, as romantic as this book is, I know that we mentioned earlier that there was adult content, but it wasn't like graphic. So, I think I would give this book like one jalapeno out of 5 because it was like the content was there, but it wasn't explicit. It was kind of like insinuated, right? Like we felt breath on body, right? But it wasn't like um beep went beep and into beep, you know.
Yeah. Breast in mouth, mouth down somewhere. That's about the gist of it. It
Yeah.
so like the whole like spicy scenes were maybe like 3 pages in total, maybe four.
Hmm.
So I mean, it wasn't a lot. It wasn't detailed, like you said, but it was still there, and I think it was still really good because
Yeah.
it was tasteful.
Hmm.
That's that's a perfect word for it. It was very tastefully done.
Absolutely. And there's different, sometimes you want different things, you know what I mean? Sometimes the closed door, well, I don't even think the door wasn't even closed. It was more like cracked, you know? Sometimes that adds to, I think that added to the romanticism of the book, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. 100% agree on that.
You know
I-
what's funny about having a podcast
But
is like opinions change, right? Because like we as people change. And so like on one episode, if people, if you're out there listening, if you're out there listening, if you've listened to early podcast episodes, um, there's times where I'm like, yeah, sometimes people read smut and it's like not even, it doesn't even have a storyline. It's literally just that. And
hmm
I'm all judgy and whatnot. And while I do really need a good plot line, um, although I still think it's hilarious when Jesse Hall was like, yeah, it's flimsy at best. um, uh, but like, you know, people's opinions change. And so now it's probably, you know, what's funny is I can imagine someone out there like listening to the early judgy versions of our podcast and being like, ugh, no, I'm out. And then now we're like, so this scene happened.
Yeah, because as you said, opinions do change, but at the same time, authors change as well. Like different authors write different spice differently, and sometimes it hits a little better than others.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say it varies how I like my spice. Because in this book, like literally, it was the perfect amount of spice for me. Like I thought this was perfect for what this book was, and I was
Yeah.
happy with it. But then you have like Bonded Nightmare, which was like spice galore, or oh,
Was
what was
it? I mean, it was kind of like,
it was like a
well,
3.5,
it was like a
or
3, yeah.
yeah. What was the other one?
I don't know. Sometimes I read like 6 jalapenos out of 5.
Oh, Phantasma.
That was a
Phant
5, I think, yeah.
Yeah, that was a fast. Yeah. So I mean, it just there was still a storyline.
I'm still like head firsts in the Lord series, so
Oh, yeah. Mm, I gotta get back into that one.
moving on. Um,
Anyways,
anyways, so out of all of the fantastic characters with their own voices and their own individual personalities, which was your favorite, you think?
like I hate to say it, but like I can't choose between Jenyfer and Ordez. Like Ordez, I loved his character for the sheer amount of like care that he had, and just he was very like he had me like I yeah.
Yeah,
Do you see
I
what
get
he's
you.
done to me?
Yeah. Yeah, it's those times where he puts the knuckle under the chin and like holds her face up to his. It gets you every time.
Like literally he was like the most romantic character, male character I've read in a while. Like
Yeah.
a lot of these characters are like they have softer sides, but there was just something about Ordez. But Jenyfer and her resilience and her fight and just it just made me so happy. So I
Yeah.
really liked her. But what about you?
My favorite character was Karis.
I knew you
Karis.
were gonna say
I
that.
love him. I can't help. I love him. I will admit, Mendez is a wonderful character. He's so romantic and dreamy. And Jenyfer, I love her. I wish that she would punch people in the face a little bit more, um,
Mm.
namely her sister and everyone else. Um, everyone but Ordez. Yeah, I don't know. I love Jenyfer. I love Ordez. I love Ordez's father. He's a great character.
Mm.
Um, if I was on that ship, you know, I'm just saying, um, I could date you or your father.
I love that.
What a time to be alive, you know?
I exactly.
Did you have a favorite quote?
Okay. Favorite quote wise, I didn't really have too many. Like there was a quite a few parts that I did highlight because they were very memorable. Like I wanted to remember them. I needed them highlighted. But as far as quotes,
Mhm.
first one is I don't think you understand how amazing it is just to sit with someone without worrying they're going to notice something isn't right with you, without having to be fearful. Thank you. And like, I know it's not something that really would appear to anybody else, but just knowing that you can be comfortable with someone is so fucking amazing. Like, it's not
Mhm.
every day that that happens. So the fact that she was able to have that moment, like, I love that. But my other one, now this might ruffle some feathers, but it is no it is no God of mine that takes my away my voice and my freedom. And I will stand by that.
Absolutely.
So that is all I have to share.
I was kind of the same. I highlighted stuff that I just because I liked the moment or whatever. Um, there was one where she says, "We're prisoners here. I want to be free to make my own choices. I want to choose who and what I believe in, what I wear, where I go, how I spend my time. Can you see why I want to leave this place?" Yeah. Feeling
Yeah.
trapped sucks.
Yeah.
Like crying over here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I also highlighted if it harms no one, do as you will, which of course is like the Wiccan, you know, golden rule. Um, this one hurt. This one hurt. It hurt. It hurt my soul. It hurt my heart. I don't know. It's going to be rough reading it. Um, she says, I don't even have a name anymore, Jenyfer thought. She could feel herself slipping away, could feel her mind shifting. So, oh my God, I'm going to cry. Something inside her was clamoring to get out, to escape, to run screaming. She wanted to plunge headlong into the ocean or pitch her body towards the rocks from top of the cliffs. She wanted this to end before it began. She wished she had had the foresight to conceal a knife beneath her sleeve. She wondered what they would have done if she pressed a blade to her own throat.
Bro, that beginning was so fucking rough.
Oh God, I hate that whole the first part was so awful. And it was supposed to be, you know, but like
Nah,
um
it was real bad.
it was really bad. I loved when he said hello, witch.
Yeah.
There's something just so, you know, the timing of it, that was great.
I I love the fact that at one point with him, like they were talking about needing to leave, and he was like, Jenyfer wanted them to take this prissy cow with them. I can't tell you how much I laughed at that. I've never heard anybody called a prissy cow in a book, and it just made my day.
I swear, cow is underutilized as an insult in America. Like over like in the UK, they
Yeah.
use cow so gracefully. And
Yeah.
I just want to call people stupid cows or like, you
A
know,
daft cow.
oh my God. 10 out of 10. My favorite.
It is
Actually, my
fucking
favorite insult is
hilarious.
douchebag, but
Yes.
but cow is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. Oh my goodness.
So, your overall opinion of the book?
Honestly, I loved it and I can't wait to read the second.
Yeah, I agree. 10 out of 10. I will not only recommend, but I'm going to read the second book as well. I love
Yeah.
a good Arthurian retelling, you know?
Honestly, that's it that's all I've wanted was a really good one and we finally found one. Like, don't get me wrong, like a couple of the other ones we did were really good, but at the same time, like this is, in my opinion, 5 stars, hands down. Like you got me to tear up. Like you got me to smile, you got me to laugh. Like you put me through the emotions. Like I never say that I give 5 stars easily. I don't. I fucking am horrible about it. But yeah, I love this one.
Yeah, I'm a slut for romance, man. And the thing that fills me with rage about Arthurian legends or like the King Arthur and Camelot is that the Mists of Avalon is it it was my favorite. It was my favorite book. Only second to the Vampire Chronicles. And Marion Zimmer Bradley is the actual devil, and because of that, because she's such an awful, horrible, and there aren't even words enough as to how horrible of a human being she is. You don't hurt children, but because of that, I obviously can't read the book anymore, and it, you know, fucking stupid. It sucks. But I think that this book and this series is going to take place. It's going to replace as my favorite, probably my favorite Arthur book. There's pirates, man.
I know. Like, and the fact that this has been on our TBR, like collectively, like for fucking a year now. A
Yeah,
year.
facts.
I can't believe we slept on this for so long.
We did hard. I'm interested in the second book, but every time someone from the council or a witchfinder pops up, literally my heart rate spikes.
I know.
It just
Like,
fills me with dread.
all I can picture these people, like, you're walking through the town as a witch, like, the you just got found out, like Jenyfer just got found out. All I can
Mm.
hear is like from Game of Thrones, shame, shame. Like with the cowbell. That's all I can think of is when I hear these witch finders. Just shame. Oh, no. I can't wait though.
Well, yeah. The Call of the Sea was written by Kate Schumacher and is book one of the Grail Cycle series. Schumacher has written Shadow of Fire and is currently working on A City of Smoke and Demons, which I'm personally very excited about. She describes it everywhere as like London and fog and like, lanterns. I don't know, Jack. I think it's like Jack the Ripper style. But not Jack the
Ooh.
Ripper, but like that time period. And I'm here for it. So I'm very excited for that one. You can find links to her Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and more on her website, kateschumacherauthor.com. I just realized I said that cow was popular in the UK, which it is, but our author is actually Australian, which
Ooh.
tomato potato, but I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't come for me. Anywho's, Jen, can you tell everyone what we're reading next? I'm sorry. It was just a joke, guys. I know that they're two completely different places. It was a joke because of the history. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. All of my favorite people are going to hate me. Jen, what are we reading next week?
So next week we are reading Promises and Pomegranates by Sav R. Miller.
Yay.
Hades and Persephone retelling.
Mhm.
Oh,
And also another book that's been on our TBR for our entire lives.
for fucking ever. Yeah.
Um, Honestly, guys, thank you all for loving us anyway, even when we accidentally skip weeks. I genuinely don't know why we decided a 500-page book would be a fantastic idea the week of Thanksgiving.
Honestly, like I don't know what the fuck was wrong with us, but we
We're
tried it.
so dumb. We did that. We did.
Well, hey, we just have to remember it for Christmas.
Exactly.
Oh, we're gonna be a fucking hot mess that week.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Devilish Bookworms.
If you want to chat with us, be sure to check us out on Threads, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
You can also find our podcast on YouTube and wherever else you listen to podcasts.
We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.